So it's quite an intense movie.
It's good for the whole family.
It is, really.
Right? Bring the kids.
Yeah, why not?
Right?
Let's start with you, Derrick. How did you come up with the idea for this? What was the original genesis of the project?
It started, I think, just Danny Forte and I always just kind of have 4 or 5 projects in the works, and we had been playing with some ideas about Uber drivers and kind of the way they feel invisible, and kind of you hear stories from them, and you always hear what they used to do, and you hear about, kind of see that no one wants to talk to them, and kind of we just started digging into what would happen if an Uber driver kind of, let's say, made a very horrible decision like this. And I read about these burner rides, which are a real thing, where dealers are using drivers to drive them around because of the search and seizure laws. Cops won't stop them and search them without probable cause. So it was just kind of those two ideas colliding into this.
And Scott, how did you put together the financing for this movie? I mean, was it a difficult sell, or?
It was impossible. There was we made this film in conjunction with Old Dominion University. It was actually a course you could have signed up for, which many people have tried to do, but Derrick, as an alum, was successfully able to convince them to let this film be made. And of course, they read the script, and it's really well written. So they, even though it was questionable material to some degree, they really saw the opportunity. And since we were going to shoot it in Norfolk, it was part of a work initiative through the state. So the state gave us a grant. Old Dominion University gave us a grant. We put up the pennies that we needed to get it done. So it's a micro budget movie. I think it came out very well. Most of it is owed to Derrick because he's well respected and beloved there in his hometown in Virginia.
I used to be. Before this.
So we got a lot of favors. They burned a car on the riverside, and nobody stopped us.
And Jim, how did you get involved in this?
I was sent the script. I had done a couple of films that I was cast through Mary Vernew, and she's been my advocate, and I owe my life to her. And so she had pitched me to these guys, and I read the script, and I was really excited. I loved everything about it. I loved the opportunity that, as an actor, I knew I could show people that I could play a guy like this, because I view the entertainment industry kind of like Missouri. You have to show people. You can't just say, hey, I could do that. They're like, yeah. And, like if you play a priest once, you're always a priest. So I was excited that I could play a complex kind of guy that maybe you think is one way and then you learn is something much different.
And Robbie and Isabel, what was the casting process like for you?
I got an audition through my agents, and I did it. I was like, okay, I'll just do the self-tape. And then they called me, and they said, well, the director wants to talk to you. I said, oh, okay. This is okay. So then we had a really good conversation. I remember being in Central Park, and I thought, oh, my God, this man is so clear with what he wants and how he wants to create this character. But it took me a while to decide, we were negotiating there for a while if I wanted to play Marina, because I knew it was just going to take so much energetically and emotionally. But I love a challenge as an artist. And Marina, sure was a challenge. And I felt very safe with Derrick.
Yeah. How about you, Robbie?
Somewhat similar. I read the script and immediately was like, I need to meet the director. I need to get on the phone with the director who wrote this craziness. And immediately I was just drawn to the material. I felt like it was so well written, and the characters were so nuanced, and there was a lot on the page, but I felt like there was a lot of room to take what was on the page and really make it something special. And I got a chance to put myself on tape, and Derrick called me. We had a very long conversation, and he trusted me with the material. So I'm really appreciative and grateful to be a part of this thing.
So how many nights did you have to shoot this film?
16.
16 nights.
Yeah.
16 nights. Wow.
16 nights, all nights, every night. Every night.
There was one day.
There's
It was
day.
one long
There was
night,
one
of
day.
course.
So what was the atmosphere like on the set? I mean, was it as tense to film as it was to watch?
No, thanks to Jim Gaffigan,
Exactly.
who made the whole process doable for the both
We
of
were
us.
sitting in the car with a comedian. So, as difficult it is to stay Maz while Jim is being Jim, is
By
that's
the way,
a challenge in and of
everyone
itself.
should know that the Robbie that you see here is somebody I didn't meet until the last day of shooting because he was Maz the entire time. You know, he wasn't like a lunatic, but he was not this warm, engaging, smiling guy. On set, he was somebody that I thought, well, this guy doesn't like me. You know?
And you would say it too. You would be like, I don't think he likes me, right? As if I'm like, man, we're shooting a movie here.
I love you, Jim.
The late nights, I think it's, all you can do, when you start a day at 7 and it's 4 a.m. and you still have 3 more hours to go, there's, and you do that like for 12 nights in a row, you're like, what are we doing? Like, how do we even get drunk?
You see what I mean?
But Jim, I know that you didn't want to be comedic on screen, though. You really didn't want to have any real moments of comic relief if you could achieve that, right?
Yeah, no, I think Derrick and I were always talking about avoiding something that could even be interpreted as a comedic beat. Just because to serve the story, we didn't want Cam to, be clownish. And that's not to say that, I am a buffoon, so I probably came across as clownish, but there was something about, I wanted to establish an empathy for Cam and a likability so that when he started doing these ridiculous things, the viewer would be like, oh my gosh, I had this preconceived notion of this guy. Because in the end, if you look at Cam, he gets away with a lot of stuff only because he's a white guy. And so there's something about that we were, and we didn't want him to be it shouldn't be a humorous take. It should be kind of a sad kind of thing. But of course, when I was shooting it, I was like so into Cam. I was like, this guy's a good guy. I was like, like we would stop shooting and people would be like, I can't believe how insane your character is, and I'd be so into Cam. I'd be like, he's making some tough decisions. Like every actor will identify with that. You're like, he's not that bad. I mean.
So Derrick, with these 3 actors we have on stage with us, they're very different backgrounds in terms of how they got into acting. Do you take a different approach to each of them as a director, or do you take the same approach to all actors?
On a 16-day schedule, it's tough to kind of really have enough time to figure each person out. So you kind of go with a little bit of a shotgun approach and know that everyone needs something different and try to hope that there's good back and forth, good communication. And I think the great thing about these 3 up here, as well as the others in the film, is everybody was kind of, we're making the same film. We all kind of knew what we were here for, so the communication was really great in that, like I said, everyone needed something different, but they were conscious of that with me, and we kind of got there a lot faster than maybe we normally would have, because we knew, at the end of next week we're done, so we have to get it now. And what's the fastest way to get what we need? And it just sort of worked out that way.
So for the actors and also for Scott, how would you describe Derrick's style on the set? I mean, you've all worked with many different directors, and each has their own kind of approach. What's his vibe like?
I would say verbally abusive. No, I thought he was, what's so great about working with, not only is Derrick very calm, and because he was a writer, he knew every element, but he also has a confidence that he, you can pitch ideas to him, and he's not, everyone aspires to the best idea wins, but Derrick was definitely an example of I'll do whatever is best. There wasn't an ego associated with no, I wrote it like this. It's got to say it like this. You know, like, so you could sit there and go, what if instead of this we did that? And he'd be open to it. Obviously, I would defer to whatever he wanted to do. But there was a collaboration there that I think is, you know, you don't take that for granted, you know, because as an actor, I'm very respectful that when I get on a set, it's the director's gig, you know. I'm there to serve the director, the writer, the producer, and I'm a great guy.
Clearly. How about for you, Isabel and Robbie?
Well,
What
this
was your-
material made me personally very nervous.
Yeah.
Just the nature of the character, and when I read the script, I thought there's no redeemable quality about this woman. She's so easy to judge and dismiss so quickly. And the first day I got on set, I realized, you know, I was working with a man who was very clear, but also made us all feel very safe. And I felt like he was a great communicator, and we just negotiated certain things. He was also great at surprising us. Like, sometimes we were just having conversations and he was recording that, and then that made it to the
Not true.
and we're like, oh, was he like filming? But you know, he has a talent for like getting those really golden moments when you least expect it. So I'm very grateful for him. We were a great team.
How about you, Robbie?
Yeah, I would say just truly collaborative. I know there were some things that were very important to me that came across in Maz, and I wanted the real humanity in this guy to really come across, because I feel like on the surface you have the plot, but then below the surface there's definitely a message with this film, and it deals with a lot of themes of, you know, white privilege and minority disenfranchisement, and I believe this film really has an opportunity to spark conversation to help heal those wounds in our society right now. But he saw that, and he wrote it with that in mind, and he saw the things that I saw about Maz that I could be really useful to forward that conversation. So just truly collaborative effort on his part. I loved working with him.
And Scott, you're also a director as well as a producer, but on this film you were serving as a producer. A producer can mean many things on a set. What was your sort of day-to-day responsibilities like?
Well, we've known each other 20 some odd years, and the last 10 been making films, starting with the Joneses, and you know, 4 or 5 others since. So we have a great, you know, very quick hand, you know, dialogue. And this film, just to kind of like let you know, like, it was going to snow one day, so it would be 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be looking at the weather report, and then I'd write him. I knew he was up, and I'd say, it's going to snow. We should probably do this scene and move this like this. And he goes, wait. And then he'll just like rewrite the scene to make sure it works, and then we'd have sides the next. Like, he's that committed to the material. And so we have that kind of like dialogue, but he makes everybody safe, especially with Isabel, because Isabel was coming into this, she was coming out of school, comes from this great pedigree, and we were really roughing her up, you know, as this ingenue. So he gives confidence, and the set was always safe. We had, you know, we didn't really have live firing weapons. You know, we made everybody safe, and even though we had 30 some odd students from Old Dominion University also to take care of, we had a great crew, and you know, everybody just got to it, and they were very committed. But Derrick does give you confidence. He always claims he prides himself on being the dumbest guy in the room. Is what he says. And and he does. He lets you do your thing, and he does. And he values everyone's opinion. There were lots of conversations about the characters, everyone. It wasn't just 2 takes and move on, and we got it or we don't. It was, where is Cam right now? Like, what is happening with Robbie? Where is Marina right now? What is that relationship, right? You guys went out on your own, right? You went on like a date, an actor date, so you could get to know each other, because we had no rehearsal. Yeah. Everyone just showed up in Virginia, and we started making a film. The next day. Yeah, the next day.
We arrived and we started filming literally 24 hours later. Nice to meet you. Let's go.
Yeah.
So just bring your gun and your grill, and we're good to go, right?
That grill is yours.
So
The grill is actually mine. It does belong to
We didn't have a props.
I've worn it before, and I've worn it after.
Wore it to the audition, which is how he got the job, with the gun and the grill.
yeah.
Just really quick before, since we are at SAG,
Yeah.
you know, the SAG diversity in casting is one of the reasons we were also able to make this film, because that's, you know, that inspires you, and it really, so thank you, SAG, for having that. It's the 4th film I've made under that contract.
Yeah.
And the modified low budget agreement, as they can tell you, is a very, very small amount of money for the amount of work that you're putting in, but it would have been impossible without that contract.
Yeah.
So thanks.
So for the actors, since these are all actors here, when did you know you wanted to act, and how did you become an actor?
Jimothy?
I think I remember I was with my mom and my brother at Chicken Unlimited, and I was. It wasn't you know, it wasn't a Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was a Chicken Unlimited. And I was probably 8, my brother was 10, and my mom, we had just seen a movie, and my mom asked my brother what he wanted to do, and he said he wanted to be a helicopter pilot. And then she asked me, and I said I wanted to be an actress. So I always wanted to be an actor. But, you know, I grew up in a small town in Indiana. I didn't really know anyone in the entertainment industry. I'm sure half the actors here, it's like announcing you want to be a performer to your family. It was the equivalent of saying you want to be an astronaut, right? So it is, you know, it's thrilling to get this opportunity. But I remember being a little kid thinking that would be the ideal thing. What about you guys?
I was 8. And actually, one of my friends is here from elementary. She remembers this. We were doing a play in 3rd grade. And yeah, they wanted us to memorize the lines, and they would record us, and then we would just like dub the lines. And I kept asking my teacher, I said, I'm going to memorize the lines. I promise you I got this. And she was like, no, we don't trust you. You're an 8-year-old. You're not going to know your lines. And I said, okay. So after we finished, we were supposed to like freeze on stage. And I just decided to improvise a completely different ending for the play. And all the parents were like, whoa. And I realized as I was doing it, I was like, oh my God, I think I'm in big trouble. And then I saw the teacher going like, keep going. And I just kept going. And then I told my mom, I'm going to be an actor. This is what I'm going to do. And it's a good thing because I don't know how to do anything else. So.
How about you, Robbie? I know you were an athlete.
Yeah, my story sucks. I was playing professional basketball for years after college and really just kind of fell into the acting business. That's lame.
That's super lame.
I knew I wanted to. It really is lame. I went to my first acting class, and after my first acting class, I was blown away by everybody in the room, and I was like, I have to do this. Whatever is happening in this room, this is what I am supposed to be doing. Forget basketball, forget everything else. And it was just a blessing from God. I started working pretty much right after that, and it's just been such a blessing to be a part of this industry. And I don't know, it's crazy. It sucks. It's a terrible story, though.
No, it's a good story. It's a good story. And since this is for the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, do each of you remember what role got you your Screen Actors Guild card?
Mine was a commercial for Movie Phone, and that was very exciting. And if you're under 30, you have no idea what Movie Phone is. But that was very exciting because the commercial would play in movies before, and so I would be there, and people would be like, "Hey, is that you?" So that was.
I believe mine was a Burger King commercial.
Oh.
And yeah, it was interesting. The actual king with the big plastic head was dancing around me, and I was amazed. And I got a SAG card after that.
I was playing a housewife, and who was supposed to be 38, but I was like 23 for a show. This was not too long ago. I'm a proud member, but I just got my SAG like 2 years ago. So.
So another question we always ask here of the actors is, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten from another actor that you can pass along to these actors?
Can you come back to
Yeah,
me?
sure. We'll come back to Jim.
I'm trying to think. I think it's something that Stephen McKinley Henderson told me when I was in class, but I'm trying to think. But honestly, the one thing that comes to mind, and I think it comes to mind because of this character, and I had judged her so harshly initially, was that you have to defend the character's truth with your life. And I learned that with Marina.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are making this tough on me. This is gonna suck. Always keep God first in whatever you do. That is by far the best advice that I've ever gotten from an actor or anyone else. So I give all glory to God for everything that's happened in my life. That's the first thing. And the second thing is never, ever be afraid to invest in yourself. Whether that means spending money on a publicist or an acting class or some clothes or something, whatever it is, don't be afraid to invest in you.
Yeah. Unlike God, mine is Satan. No. But no, I would say that. No, I don't know who told me this. I feel like I probably was told this a million times, and after the millionth time I finally got it, was don't get caught up in other people's expectations, because I think whenever I was frustrated, which is constantly, it was usually because other people thought that I should have, like we don't have any control over the timing, I'm, in my early 50s. I know I look 20, but, I would have loved to have gotten roles like this when I was in my 20s, but you don't have control over that. And I think that when I was in my 20s or 30s, I was angry that I couldn't get complex, interesting roles. And I think that I didn't have any control over it, and I wasn't aware that I didn't have any control.
Jim, I also wanted to ask you, since we're here at the Robin Williams Center, I imagine you must have crossed paths with Robin over the years. I know when he died, you tweeted something about you'd never felt so sad, angry, stunned, and grateful at the same time. What was he like to know?
It's weird because he is one of those guys that when you would meet him, I met him at Sundance one year, and he was like so incredibly humble. It was one of those, it wasn't a fancy Sundance party. It was Bobcat Goldthwait's movie that Robin had done. It probably squeaked into the festival. I think it was about someone having sex with a dog. I don't know what the movie was about. And he was so humble. It was almost, it made you uncomfortable how humble this guy was. I'm like, hasn't this guy conquered the earth 3 times? And but he was that sweet, and it was strange. But a really nice guy. Like, it was not, his first instinct was to make someone else feel comfortable. And ever since then, I've told myself I'll never do that.
So for each of you, what are you hoping people take away from this film? I mean, is there I hesitate to use the word message, but I mean, what do you hope people will get out of the experience of watching this movie? Derrick, you want to start?
I don't think there's one thing in particular I hope anyone takes from it. I hope it sparks conversations about some of the issues that the film touches on, and if it does that, it's successful to me.
Any other answers? Anybody have any?
Be nicer to your Uber driver. I think that opening sequence was something that was an innovation as we were shooting. That wasn't originally conceived, which is why Derrick's wife, me, a couple of the students were all the passengers, because we'd made it up as we were going along. But it is true, you don't make eye contact, you're not engaging necessarily, especially with taxi drivers. I guess Uber and Lyft drivers, you seem obliged to have conversations, but you don't know these, they're doing it's a side hustle for a lot of people. It's in between their hopes and dreams. They're an actor a lot of times because they can be flexible. And I think that's fascinating. But yeah, I think our white privilege, Derrick, the same way he did with the Joneses, he's the way he writes, I think, of course, he's very clever. He doesn't hit it on the nose. You have to look a little deeper. And what is this film about? We weren't just being salacious and pushing stereotypes. That wasn't what none of us would have made the film if that's what it was about. So I think that's what we want to look at, and just look a little bit deeper and be able to kind of immerse yourself in this, and with the soundtrack and the cinematography and the editing, it all really came together where I think it keeps you in this head, and you can really go, oh, right, this is what independent film is. First, we can go there. And because we're not expected to make anybody any money, and we don't. So, but so we can do that. But I think looking at those, really this guy, he's a nice guy, but he gets away with multiple homicides and murder and grand larceny, and he gets away with everything.
Yeah. We have a few questions from the audience. Jim, what is your process for acting a drama versus a comedy or a sitcom? Is it different?
Well, I feel like, I enjoy sitcom acting. It's usually the characters are so kind of broad that you're kind of just showing up in a scene and you're delivering a joke. I mean, hopefully as an actor you're doing more than that. But what I love about film, whether it be a comedy or a drama, but dramas end up where the character's more complex, and the more complex the character, the more fulfilling and the more you can get into. But I love the fact that you can kind of collaborate and create this this person that's going to be portrayed on film, and all the moving parts, and how everybody, who you're acting with, that where you're going at the end, as opposed to in a TV show it could continue on, and working towards that common goal. There's something really fun about. I love sitting in the awkwardness of a moment, just as a funny person likes to alleviate tension. There's also something fun about creating tension and forcing the audience to endure it. So it's. I don't know. It's something I didn't imagine that I would enjoy it as much as I did. But I've done dramas before. But again, it comes down to if it's an interesting character.
Yeah. Question for Derrick: what challenges or concerns did you have directing a stand-up comedian?
Wow. I think that after talking with Jim and spending a little bit of time with him, I don't think I had any questions about whether or not he could go where this character needs to go, or that he was willing to take some chances. He trusted me, and it seemed like we were on the same page. So it was never a question of this guy's a stand-up comedian. It was can he do what we've discussed and that we need him to do to get there for this film. So I know that that's become a big topic of conversation as we go and do press for the film, just because it is sort of a natural question, but it really wasn't a question for me.
Mm-hmm. Jim, another very direct question. Why do drama? Is your agent or manager advising it?
No. First of all, there's, as everyone in this room knows, in acting, there is no money. So my agent would rather me do stand-up. No, it's something that I enjoy, and it's again, it's the most interesting characters end up being in dramas, and the most interesting, compelling stories that present a lot of questions end up being dramas. I don't have anything against comedies, but I also, consume dramas more than I consume sitcoms or comedy shows. I don't know what it is,
Well, I think you're remarkable in the movie, and I think it's an amazing film. It's opening tomorrow in theater in New York City. Next week it expands. Also will be available on video on demand. So spread the word. Go see American Dreamer. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.